What is up, YouTube? I'm Adam O'Dell, Chief Investment Strategist at moneyandmarkets.com, and I'm joined again this week by my research analyst, Matt Clark. And we're here for another episode of Ask Adam Anything, where you can ask me questions on literally anything from what's that picture in the background in my office to what are my feelings on individual stocks to which way I think the broad market is going. So please give us your questions down below in the comments, or you can email us at this email address as well. And we will hopefully pick your question for an upcoming episode. So with that, Matt, I will let you take it away this week for this week's question.
And for reference, the picture in his background is Puerto Rico. Let's just lay it all out there. Let's just get past that right now. It's been a question that's been recurring, so
we did cover that ad nauseam.
We have covered it. It's Puerto Rico. There you go. End of story. Now, moving on with this week's question, I want to jump into this because it's rather unique, and it's unique for a particular reason. Now, it's very well known by most that you have a premium investment service called Green Zone Fortunes, and within that service, there are thousands of subscribers that are paying for knowledge, research, analysis, as well as stock recommendations that we all feel are going to beat the market by at least 3 times over, if not more, between for a period of 12 and 24 months. And this question relates to one of those stocks that you, myself, and Charles Sizemore, Green Zone Fortunes co-editor, are all very, very bullish on. So I'm going to preface all this by telling the audience that I'm not going to tell you what the stock is, because we're just not going to do that. But I am going to give you a way to find out more about the stock and find out what that ticker is. If you click on the link above, you'll be able to learn more about Green Zone Fortunes. You'll be able to get access to this particular ticker that we are very bullish on and find out more information about it. So with all that being said, I'm just going to refer to the ticker in this question as the company, if that makes sense. Does that work for you?
That works for me. A little bit awkward, but I think there's enough information in this story that we can share. And like you said, folks can get a lot more information on the exact name of the company and the ticker symbol and our specific buy recommendations at that link that you're going to provide. So that's fair enough, Matt. Let's keep going.
And to also lay the groundwork here, one of the reasons why we are bullish on the stock is because it is involved in a mega trend that we all see as being very prominent, not just today, but prominent in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years and beyond. And what I'm talking about here is renewable and infinite energy. This is a stock that is a big player in that infinite energy market. And that's where that leads me into our question. And the question is pretty simple. I joined your newsletter after listening to only one presentation by you. I'd like to know, who does the company buy batteries and storage batteries from? So if that gives you kind of an indication as to where we're going to go here, I'll pose that question to you and then just kind of let you take it from there.
Sure, I'm happy to answer that question because it's an important question, and I'm glad this new subscriber asked it. Before I get there, let's talk about that mega trend that you just mentioned. Renewable energy is no longer just a hippie cause. It's no longer ESG or for tree huggers. I remember decades ago, my grandfather's 90 some years old and he's in his mid 90s. And I remember decades ago, I asked him how he felt about climate change. And he gave me the funniest answer. He says, I do believe in climate change. And I was very surprised by that because I thought he was a skeptic at the time. And again, this was like over 20 years ago. And I said, oh, really? You do? And he said, yeah, it gets hot in the summer and cold in the winter and has done that every year of my life. So he was nonetheless a skeptic as a 70-some-year-old. But nonetheless, if you just look at what's happening in Russia right now, and specifically Europe. Europe gets 40% of their gas from Russia. They are beholden to Russia. They're scared because of what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. And just imagine how much less stress and how much less turmoil Europe would feel if they didn't have to get 40% of their natural gas from Russia. I don't know if you believe this or not, but 3 hours of sunlight, just 3 hours of sunlight is enough to power all of the entire world's energy needs for a day. It's just 3 hours of sunlight, but the technology is just now getting to the point where we can harness that untapped energy and actually use it. So again, that's a little bit of a preface on the mega trend that we're investing in. That's what we do here at Green Zone Fortunes. But this specific question asks, the company that I'm recommending that I believe will be the biggest growth story of the 2020 decade. They install large-scale batteries to store energy at utility companies and at large corporations like Home Depot and FedEx, everywhere that has a large facility that has energy needs, because it saves those folks money. So this company that I've recommended that I believe will go 10x higher does not install their own, they don't manufacture their own batteries. They buy batteries from other companies and then install them in their customers' projects. So who do they buy batteries from? Well, they buy batteries from upwards of a dozen different companies. Chinese companies like KATL, BYD, and Sungrow, a Japanese company, Panasonic, South Korean companies, Samsung and LG all make these types of batteries, a Canadian company called Canadian Solar, and as well as several US companies as well. There's a company called Powen in Oregon, there's a company called Eve in Ohio, and there's a little known company called Tesla. Probably not little known, but nonetheless, the reason I like this business model is a couple of reasons. First of all, this company that I'm recommending is not beholden to one supplier, okay? If one supplier is being difficult, either in their inventory or their pricing, they can simply shift their buying activity to a different supplier. Now, I follow this company that I've recommended very closely, and I check their updates and their quarterly reports and their press releases every single week. And just this morning, I recorded a presentation on this company about a week ago, and I said that they had nearly secured all of the actual hardware, the batteries that they intend to install in customers' projects for 2022. I just checked this morning and they updated that. They have fully secured all of their 2022 inventory project needs. And that's a big deal because, you know, Matt, we've talked a lot about the supply chain issues that are kind of like kinking up the economy globally. And this company has figured out strategic relationships that get them past those bottlenecks. So that's one thing. The other thing is the cost of batteries are going down. So whereas in 2020, the cost per kilowatt hour for battery storage was around $250, by 2025, that's projected to fall down to about $150. And then by 2030, it could be approaching or even go below $100 per kilowatt hour. So when I see that, that's good for the overall mega trend, but it kind of puts a squeeze on the manufacturers of this hardware, because raw material costs may not come down as much as the actual end selling price that they're able to command. So basically, just to give you an idea, the profit margin on a piece of hardware like this is in the gross margin, profit margin is in the 10 to 30% range. So this company that I'm recommending basically buys these batteries from other manufacturers, all the ones I just listed, and then sells them to their customers at about a 30% markup. So they get about as much of that profit margin as they can, that 30%. But really, the reason I'm hopped up on this company is not because of the software, or excuse me, not because of the hardware they install, but because of the software that they've developed. They have an industry-leading software that is based on artificial intelligence of data that comes from these utility companies that stores and processes this power. And they have more data than any other company. They have about a 75% market share in a portion of the California renewable energy market. So they are absolutely a first mover, and they're gaining market share like gangbusters. And the thing with their software is that it's twofold. First of all, this is not a one-shot deal. They don't make the revenue and then the customer leaves. They are signing up customers, dozens of corporate and utility customers, for 10, 20, and 30-year contracts of recurring revenue. And Matt, I know you didn't believe this when we first talked about it, but the profit margins that come with this software service is north of 80%. So why would this company manufacture batteries and try to eke out a 10% gross margin when their industry-leading software provides them with up to 30 years of revenue visibility and an upwards of 80% profit margin growth? So that's really, it's a good question. Where does this company get the batteries from? And I think probably what's underlying that question is there any concern that they won't be able to supply those batteries or secure those batteries? No, there's no concern whatsoever. And then the second part of that question is, why are they not manufacturing their own batteries? And that's simply because it's too lucrative to be in the software business in this mega trend. So being on the hardware side, unless you have a really innovative battery product, doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah, it seems like that the battery aspect of this, the hardware aspect of this is just a small percentage of what this company does in general. Its software is where it's really driving its customers to, and where it's really building its base. And as you said, not just today, but this is upwards of 30 years out. So this is a long-term exposure here that this company is opening itself up to. And I think it's really, really good. And you're right. I didn't necessarily believe you when you said 80%. I'm like, nah, that doesn't seem right, but it is in fact true. I looked it up myself, and I was a skeptic. Like, there's no way. But it is true. This company does, in fact, do that, and it's remarkable. And again, we are just on the cusp of this. This is not something that has been long established, and now we're seeing big players come up and up to the top. We are right on the very initial stages of this entire mega trend of infinite energy and even artificial intelligence. We are at the very, very beginning, and this is a time where, to me, I look at this as, this is the time where you invest and you earn IBM or Apple money.
Absolutely. I mean, there's really no better time. To be frank with you, if we had started investing in some of these companies or some of these technologies 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, when my grandfather was joking about climate change in the summer and the winter, we would have been too early. The innovation and the research potential was there, but the actual cost to bring these products to market and the advancements in AI were not quite there yet. Likewise, if you wait 10 or 15 years until all of these companies are household names, you're going to be too late. The profits from these software companies are going to be basically gone to the early movers. So I think that now is the perfect time. The research has come along enough. The cost of the raw materials for the batteries has come down. There's really no reason. And you have to realize too that a lot of these mega trends, they require something of a catalyst to really get them moving in a fast fashion. And I see the turmoil in the geopolitical environment with a lot of countries beholden to foreign powers for oil and for energy as the catalyst that's finally going to push world leaders and municipalities and states and countries to say, look, we have to figure out independent renewable energy on our own soil, and we have to do it in a sustainable way. Again, it's not about tree hugging or ideals. It's about profit incentive, and it's about independence. So I think now is the perfect time to get into this mega trend. And like you said, I mean, folks can find out more about this company, the exact ticker symbol, our exact buy instructions at the link that we'll provide.
Absolutely. We'll put that link up top here. If you do have a question for Adam or for Charles or for myself, we would love to hear what you have to say. Maybe you want to comment more on this mega trend. Would love to see that feedback. You can do so. You can comment down below here on our YouTube channel, or you can email us. The email address is feedback@moneyandmarkets.com. We'll also put that down below here. Ask your question, give us your insight, give us your thoughts. Would love to see that. If we do use your comment or your question in an upcoming video, and after you submit it, we're going to send you some cool Money and Markets gear. We've got t-shirts, we've got hats, sweatshirts, all sorts of good stuff. We will get that out to you. And again, this is a big mega trend that the three of us and basically our entire team at Money and Markets and Green Zone Fortunes, we are bought into, we fully believe in, and we feel like this is going to be a huge market mover, not just now, but in years to come, and has the potential here to make, I hate to say this and sound disingenuous, but has the opportunity to make a lot of investors a lot of money. and that's where we're at. That's what we believe. That is exactly where we're at right now. So Adam, thanks again for your time. Definitely appreciate it. Look forward to doing it each and every week. We'll do it again next week. And again, everyone, check out moneymarkets.com. Be remiss if I didn't mention the mothership, if you will. From there, you can use Adam's proprietary Green Zone rating system. You can check out the ratings of thousands of stocks. You can see it broke down by our 6 metrics that we use to provide an overall ranking. You can see stock charts. You can see fundamental data. Any research we've done on any of these companies is all right there at your fingertips. Build your own watch list. Track your stocks, see how they're going, see how they're performing. You can do all that at moneyandmarkets.com. And again, if you want to learn more about this mega trend, maybe this stock in particular has kind of whet your appetite a little bit, us talking about it, find out more by clicking the link up top and find out more about Green Zone Fortunes. I'm Matt Clark, research analyst for Money and Markets. He is Adam O'Dell. He's our chief research analyst for Money and Markets, and the founder of Green Zone Fortunes. Until next time, everyone, safe trading.